Hey!
Good evening, and welcome to this very special live show brought to you by the Construction Collective in conjunction with Case Construction Equipment. I'm your host, co-host actually, Mark Anthony, and given what we're about to see, I'm delighted to be joined by my technology-loving sidekick, Peter Haddock of Content with Media. Good evening, Peter.
Hello, Mark. It's going to be a good one tonight. We certainly are getting lots of equipment coming through, and like you said, technology, which is all good.
Absolutely. And if you're watching, there's also some merch up for grabs as well. So unless you know the Case wheel loader range extremely well, you'd be well advised to head on over to the Case Construction Equipment website as the show goes on, because we've got 4 prizes up for grabs. We've got a baseball cap as modelled by my glamorous assistant there, a pair of sunglasses, we've got a thermal mug, and the best prize of all is a Bluetooth speaker. We'll be getting to those at some point a little bit later on, and they will be dished out on a one prize per person basis.
Very good.
Now, so you've got to monitor that, Peter, because
no,
well, somebody's got to monitor it. Now, just a few hours ago, along with delegates from right across Europe, Peter and I tuned in to watch Case Construction Equipment host its first ever virtual event. That event was designed to showcase the evolution of the company's 7-model range of G-Series wheel loaders. We'll get to the nitty-gritty of the machines themselves in a second, but this really was a very, very technology at the forefront sort of presentation, Peter, wasn't it?
You know what, Mark? I was really surprised because, for me, when you've got a new product, people tend to focus, obviously, on the product. But, Case have got that much confidence in their product, really, that actually they've gone, right, we know the product works. We know people really love our products. But what we've done is we've literally exploded the technology, the usability, and all of these different things onto this unit that makes it not just a workhorse, but actually one of the team on site, and that was incredible. We're going to talk about all the elements that go into that. And of course, it's a new G-Series wheel loader with it as well. But it's a sign of things to come, Mark, with Case, because they're going to be building an infrastructure around the site, as we're going to talk about all this technology today, and building that infrastructure, Mark, around the operator, which is what I always love to see, because look, the machine, the brains, the everything in this industry with these machines is the operator and how to help them perform best on site, isn't it? So yeah, we're going to see a lot of that, and a very nice looking wheel loader range as well, mate.
Dead right. Now, I'm delighted we're about to be joined by 2 key members of the Case Construction Equipment team. But while we're dragging them kicking and screaming from the green room, let's take a look at the machines themselves as revealed earlier today. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. We can see your names on the screen there, but how about we do a very quick introduction to let our viewers know who you are and what you do. And let's start with you, Crispin.
Yeah, good evening, Mark, Peter, and all the Diggers and Dozers watchers. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm Crispin Turner. I'm the marketing manager for Northern Europe. And I've been with the company for about 4 years now, but been in the industry for a total of coming on 20.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you, Hayden?
Evening, guys. Yeah, I'm Hayden Bale. I'm the product specialist demonstrator for Northern Europe. Been with Case now since 2015, but been within the industry for about 30 odd years as an operator in both product marketing and specialization in product specialists and that sort of role.
And Mark, before we go on, Hayden is one of those people that goes the extra mile, mate. I'm wearing a Case hat today because who turns up on my doorstep at precisely 12:22? It's Hayden with the goodie bag containing my Case hat. That's customer service, Mark, right there.
It is customer service, but now you've let the cat out the bag. Everyone will expect that sort of service. So we may live to regret that, I think. Right, we will get to the machines in just a second, but how about we do the first of tonight's giveaways? We're going to do a fastest fingers first. In this instance, it's going to be a Case baseball cap up for grab, as being modelled by myself and my glamorous assistant, Mr. Haddock. All we need to know is the answer to the following question. The 721G is one of the 7 models in the Case G series wheel loader range. But what is the machine's operating weight in kilograms according to the Case Construction Equipment website? You can post your answers in the comment section below, and we'll come back to name a winner in just a few moments. Now, before we get started, there was a few things that stood out from me. Obviously, the fact that this was Case's first virtual launch. The second was the fact that you guys actually put in place a dedicated WhatsApp number to allow attendees to actually communicate with the event's host and to participate in the event. And I think that really epitomized Case embracing technology, which is something that's very, very evident in the machines themselves. That was a deliberate ploy, I guess, Crispin, was it?
I wouldn't say it was a deliberate ploy, but I think it really did sum up the product launch as a whole. One of the challenges that we face in the current environment we're working in is how to do events and shows and launch products, but also have that customer interaction, because it is a very one-way sort of channel by doing these online launches. So to facilitate some sort of dialogue and for everyone to be able to interact and ask us questions that we could to respond to, we've introduced the WhatsApp number as well. So and it worked really well. We were able to do surveys. We were able to answer questions that people had specifically. And it's something we have tried once before, but it's something that does really work well. But you're right, it sums up really what this G series wheel loader launch was all about, and that was technology.
Well, you've come to the right place because Peter loves his tech. And one of the things that really struck me, and I'm sure Peter will pick up on this, is just the sheer volume of tech that is crammed into these machines, specifically into the in-cab display and the Armrest control module as well. And just before you chime in, Peter, we have a winner of the baseball cap, Peter Ferguson, absolutely on the money, 14,738 kilograms. Peter, make sure you post your email or your postal address, and we'll get you hooked up. But Peter, we'll get back to you now. Technology, what did you think?
Right, so Mark, we're going to have to go through this, and we're going to have to go through it in a list format at the minute. I'm going to go through this as a literally bang, 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 if you don't mind, and then we're going to actually talk about it. Right, we have touchscreen display. We have integrated armrest controls, something I've never heard of before at all, Mark. And it's something that I think is just like super clever and playing to the modern operator. Then we've got new electro-hydraulic controls that allow the operator to select their preference. So, you might have somebody that wants more of a smoother ride for their application or just in the way they want to to operate are sort of in between moderate, or what they call, I love the phrase that Case uses, an aggressive mode. It's not like you're going to the pub for the first time, Mark, and you accidentally knock someone's arm in the beer garden, and that kind of aggressive mode, but the power mode, really. And that's really to suit the sort of applications and tasks there. But, Mark, and we know that a wheel loader, you know, fundamentally the word wheel gives it away. A wheel loader is one of those workhorses on the site. And one of the critical things about wheel loaders is actually the bigger they get, the more the tires cost on the wheels. And so, you know, I've seen sites, I've been on so many sites during my time in the industry where you've seen tire wear become such a massive important thing. In fact, at some points in the times in the last sort of 15, 20 years when I've been on site, you were saying on site with people going, well, look, we're having to swap the rear and the front tires with the bigger machines because there's a global tire shortage. So really clever thing there, integrated tire pressure monitoring system, the lights that you'll see on new cars, you know, really much more important on a wheel loader from a cost perspective as well. And then you come to my favorite stuff, Mark, Site Connect telematics, you know, where the machine talks to us. So it tells us how it's doing, tells us what we've got to do with it, tells us what it's been doing, and lots more to boot. And then they've got another Site Watch portal, which is really, really interesting for me. Why? Because my favorite subject that, you know, I like talking about, HS2, big projects. Big projects need big data, need big information. And it's not good enough to have that information at the end of the week, Mark, when all the work has been done, or we've had traffic on site and nothing's been moving because there's been a problem with a prime mover, for example. Real-time reports, Mark, on what's been going on. That's what people want for new equipment, because the people that are going to buy this equipment are really focused on what's happened today, what's happened right now. How can we change that productivity, that efficiency, that issue on site, whether it be a pothole, whether it be over braking, whatever it be, can we do this right? Okay. And so there's all of those elements that have come through. And I know all of those elements, Mark, are where we need to put that information into the hands of not just the site managers, but the operators. And that's where I'm going to bring Hayden in, because Hayden, one of the things I hate is cab clutter. And I'm not talking about Costa coffee cups, Hayden, inside the cab and your sandwich box. I'm talking cab clutter, screen. Tell me about this touchscreen. What happens with that from an operator perspective?
The touch screen was a natural progression for us, because basically we had the screen as it was with a tactile panel down the right-hand side. And it was a case of looking at that. When I was installing, when we were showing customers the machine, they automatically thought it was a touch screen. We've developed it now and it is a touch screen. So that gives more interactivity with the operator, makes it more user-friendly. Moving on to that, you know, the monitor is a standalone piece of equipment. So we've tried to reduce switch gear in the cab. We've tried to reduce the placing of the switch gear around the cab and put it all into that monitor, which is ideal. It's all on an eye line, so it's in line with your mirrors as you look left and right. The actual monitor is in that eye line. So all other areas you're looking out is out through the large cab, through the large expanses of glass, completely around the machine, which makes it a safer machine to operate on site. But the big thing is that once we've actually done that, we've started to cram more and more information into that monitor. There are user-friendly features now to give us access to that information quickly. So we don't want operators sitting there and thinking, well, which page was it? Where do I need to go? To the day in, day out routines and maybe loading, looking at different functionalities of actual feel and control of the controller. So we've given in the quick access buttons on the actual joystick armrest control. So they're configurable. So we have 3 buttons there. And if the operator's in a loading cycle, a daily loading cycle, loading a particular customer, he can access that customer quickly via the monitor. Just makes it more intuitive for the operator, makes him more productive, and makes him more comfortable and relaxed in the cab and in his working environment.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about that, Hayden, though, is this is coming to what I'd call the iPhone generation. You know, we all have our shortcuts. I've got my widgets on my iPhone and things like that. So we all know that we need to get to. And what I love about those very colourful buttons, I think they're yellow, red, and orange or something like that.
Yeah.
Blue, but there you go. I got it wrong. What I like about those, the fact I can program them and I know, right, if I'm doing loading functions this week, so if I'm just doing, loading of trucks and I want to get to those functionality elements that help me be loading better and faster, push button, push button, push button, and then you're there. And what's really important about this is it comes down to the user preference, isn't it? You're not just saying, there's a machine, there's how you operate it, off you go, are you?
Exactly. No, the operators are becoming far and few between, particularly good operators. Youngsters coming up through the industry, again, is another whole topic we could talk about all night. So we've developed a machine there which is makes an operator comfortable, makes it more user friendly for him, but also the younger generation and guys of my age. I've got an Android phone, exactly the same as you, Peter. I use it. I click through the systems. I use the shortcuts. It becomes second nature to me now, which I never thought it would. But now we have it in the cab, so the operator now can understand that and he can use these and make the machine bespoke to him. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Now, Hayden, I can't without talking about you being aggressive with this machine, because the electro-hydraulic controls, what is this aggressive element all about? What have we done with these different functions, and how aggressive can we actually be?
It's all down to terminology. I think with a new operator, when he's feeling his feet and that sort of thing, he's loading trucks on his first day on the job and that sort of thing. He's got shiny trucks there, big aluminium sides, and he's loading up, trying to match the pace of the day and that sort of thing. So he wants control. He wants to feel at ease. So he can put that into a smooth operation, give him a comfortable feel when he's offloading the material, offloading into the hoppers, that sort of thing. Once he gets comfortable with the machine, once he wants a bit more productivity and a bit more speed, he can go up through the modes. Okay, and that's what we give him the opportunity to do. We can do that via the loader control for the actual loader, the bucket arm and that sort of thing, but we can also do it for the pilot steering as well. And we can go through those modes to make it bespoke to him.
I get you. So, look, I'm going to let you off the hook for now, Hayden, because I want to talk to Crispin about site connectivity, telematics, and this site watch. It's almost like Big Brother watching the site, making sure it's productive. Crispin, tell me about why are those things so important now to be on this wheel loader?
Yeah, they're really important. I think if you look at what's happened in the last sort of 12 months, obviously we've had the pandemic, and that has really sort of instigated a whole working pattern where everyone's remotely. You may not actually be in a quarry where your machines are operating, and site watch is, I wouldn't call it a big brother, but it's actually something that allows the site manager to monitor his machines, to look at the fuel consumption, the productivity, utilization. And with the G series, we've sort of now gone one step further where, we can also look at, are there any errors on the machine? Is it performing at 100%? And if by any remote chance, there is sort of maybe something that is not quite right, our dealers, which have access to the system, are able then to go and actually contact the operator, and providing they're registered, we can do remote diagnosis. And if, it's a very small issue, which, probably will be, then they can actually remotely repair it with an update to the software, and then the operator gets on. And, from that point of view, productivity, profitability and reliability, which were the key themes of this G series launch, are effectively delivered, over and above all the other things that we've introduced at the same time. So, it is a big brother. You could argue that, but I think it's with huge benefits to fleets and to the big operators of wheeled loaders.
And I think, from my point of view, Crispin, people want to see these reports, and people want to actually have that information, particularly on big projects where they actually, I know for a fact on the likes of HS2, they're monitoring every load that goes into every truck that goes into every dump site, that, you know, so they're literally monitoring where things are going, and you've got to be able to do that throughout the whole piece, haven't you? So these reports are online, they're available, and people can get access to them straight away, not just the customer, but, you know, if they want to share them with their wider other stakeholders within a project, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can monitor, you know, just the differences between driver behaviors. You could have, you know, somebody who's very heavy on the foot, who does the job, you know, in a certain time, you know, moving a certain amount of material, and you can have another operator who's done exactly the same time, same amount of material, but didn't necessarily use his foot as hard as the other operator. And what it actually shows that, you know, you can benchmark against other machines, you can benchmark against other operators, and then you can start putting in actions to, you know, check things so that it improves maybe site efficiency, the machine's use, the wear and tear on the machine, your fuel bill, you know, but also it's about utilization of the fleet in general. You know, is that operator sitting there for 20% of his time, or is he flat out? And that may just highlight, actually, we could have a bigger machine which will do the job more effectively and more efficiently. Or, you know, it says, well, that machine's being underutilized, and therefore we should maybe go to a smaller machine or even a different machine. So, you know, it's a whole wealth of information. And in terms of the reporting, you're right, you can have it real time, you can have it every hour, you can have it every day or every week, or whatever you set the reports up for.
And that's why it's really important. And Mark, I've noticed we've actually got some questions flying in. Do you want to take some of the questions through to the boys?
I tell you what, we'll double up actually. I think it's time for another giveaway. So we're going to give away the sunglasses this time around, which look very much like that. What we'll do, we'll set the question for this, and I think Peter's got the question on this one. We'll set the question, and while the answers are coming in, we will have a look at the questions from the audience. So, Peter, what's the question?
The question, Mark, and you know I'm not very good at reading things, Mark.
So I got you to do it.
You did it deliberately, didn't you? The largest model in the G series wheel loader lineup is the 1121G, which I'll probably call it the 1121G, or, you know, whatever else, but I've got that wrong. I know I've got that wrong already. According to the Case Construction Equipment website, folks, what is the engine power in kilowatts of this 1121G?
Superb. Right, okay, so we've had some questions in. Let's start with a nice easy one. We've had one here from our friend Kenneth Hatcher. Have the G Series got a 360-degree camera?
We have a camera on the rear of the machine. This is not 360. It gives about a 270 view of the back end of the machine. We feel that's adequate. You know, one of the features of the G Series, if you're sitting in the cab, you have excellent visibility. We have a very low bonnet line due to our emissions control systems, keeping the actual bonnet to a minimum size. So visibility to four wheels of the machine can be seen from the cab. Lots of glass, lots of space, so we can see over the back of the bonnet. So we feel that's adequate, particularly matched up then with the mirror system we have on the cab as well.
Okay, next question is aimed specifically at you. Good evening, Nick. Well, you can read it yourself. We saw the original launch back in 2017. Are there any structural differences in this new Evolution range?
Structurally, no. We retain the same chassis and build structure. Like I say, the bonnet and the engine configuration, the chassis, the loader arms, all the same. One little feature that we have added is bump stops when we're fully articulating left and right. We've now got a cushion bump stop there. It's something that customer asked for, and as an operator, I can see why they wanted that, so we've given them that. So structurally, no.
Okay, and we've got another question from Crispin. You carry on.
Sorry, I was just going to add, what Hayden said is correct, but there is actually a slight difference on the 1021G, where we've actually reduced the size of the torsion bar on the front loader, so actually got better visibility, and also we've improved the departure angle on the rear counterweight, but that's model specific to the 1021G.
Okay, we've got another question there from Mr. Drew again. Is the cab essentially the same? I think he's on the payroll. He actually thought the visibility levels were already very good, but are there any differences in the cab?
So fundamentally, the G series cab remains the same sort of single piece glass frame on it. Largest cab on the market for actual physical space with inside, flat cab floor. So we haven't physically changed that. The customers liked it, the operators liked it, so they've retained that same frame.
Well, you have taken out the other screen, haven't you, Hayden? Because you've got the new screen that you were talking about, or?
No, what you're referring to, Peter, there is that some of our customers, and quite a lot of customers, particularly in the higher end loading shovels, do go for loaders, way loaders, on the machine. Right. That has always been an aftermarket feature, going to some of our aftermarket specialists to fit another monitor in there. That has then taken up an area on the cab glass. And created a blind spot in effect. So the way that we've gone forward and put it into the monitor is increasing visibility, reducing clutter around the cab, and that sort of thing.
Right. Yep. Got it.
Okay, so we've got a situation now where we've had a couple of entries in for the competition to win the sunglasses. One of them is wrong, the other one is right. But he's already won a prize, so he can't have it. Peter, sorry, you've missed out on the sunglasses. And besides, sunglasses, as you can see, sunglasses with a baseball cap just looks preposterous. So you're out of the frame. But if anybody is paying attention to the comment section, copy what Peter Ferguson has said, and you've got yourself a pair of Case sunglasses. Nick Drew again. I'm reading this at the same time as you. Is there an onboard compressor available for the adjustment of said tyre pressures? Good question, Nick.
No, there isn't. We basically, with tyres, we have to be very careful from a health and safety point of view. So we can monitor the pressures, but then we have to take them into a controlled environment to actually put air into the tyres for hopefully obvious reasons. The large volumes of air, there's been various reports in the past of tyres exploding and that, so we have to have them in a certain area, and safety has to be paramount. So we monitor it. I think, just going on from that, the monitoring system of tyres, I think, is something that I've wanted a long time in wheel loaders. The contact with the ground of a wheel loader is essential. If you don't contact the ground right, you have stability issues, you have traction issues, you have wear issues, you have fuel consumption issues. So if you can monitor them on a daily basis, an hourly basis, and look at them and adjust them accordingly, I think that is a massive move forward for the productivity, overall reliability of the machine moving forward.
Hayden, I think what you also spoke to me about earlier today when you were doing a special delivery is about balance of the wheel load as well. That's really important to me. That's something I didn't realize. Can you just go into that a little bit for me?
Yeah, so we've done various benchmarking exercises over the years and that sort of thing. And one thing that we're very proud of, and one thing that the customers feel, and the way that the machine has been designed, is to balance over front and rear axle. So you can't get it exactly right, but you try to get it as much as you can as an equal balance over front and rear axle. This means when you're riding in the machine over rough terrain, you get a more comfortable feel. It's all very well putting very nice suspension seats and dampened seats and remoting the cab on sort of viscous couplings and that sort of thing. But if you can get the balance right, front and rear, particularly when you're loaded and unloaded, that gives a much more comfortable ride to the operator, which again means he operates more swiftly and his cycle times improve.
Cool.
Now, technology is great, but technology without a reliable machine in which to house it all is pretty much pointless. During this morning's virtual event, the presenters made a lot of noise about the fact that the machines are produced to this WCM, or world-class manufacturing standard. I will get one of you guys to explain exactly what that means in a second, but one of the points that was highlighted was the fact that the factory uses electronic screwdrivers, and those screwdrivers record the torque levels achieved during the machine's assembly. That is an amazing attention to detail, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Go on, Crispin.
I'll answer. So yeah, if we just come to your first question, which was about the world-class manufacturing standards, our machines, we want to always ensure that the quality, and we're obsessive by it as a company. But in order to ensure that we achieve that on every machine, day in, day out, we have what we call a world-class manufacturing standard. And that is actually the same all around the world. So although, for example, the wheel loader comes from a European factory for the European market, the wheel loader that's made in America or the wheel loader that's made in Brazil or whatever, they're all made to the same standards. And that's what that really means. To come to your second part of the question about the electronic screwdrivers, as I said, we're obsessed by quality, and we have huge numbers of quality steps within our manufacturing processes to ensure that everything is right first time. And it's those types of checks that are built into the processes that ensure that the machine comes off the assembly line as we want it to be, and functions as it should be, and is as reliable as it should be. And really, that's just one of many hundreds of different types of things that we do on the assembly line. Just check that the machine is right for the customer as soon as it leaves the factory.
Absolutely. I think you were going to say something, Crispin.
Hayden.
Hayden, sorry.
Hayden.
I've got Crispin on my line of sight. That's what it is.
No problem. Yeah, just further to Crispin. When we say screwdrivers, we also mean sockets, power wrenches, that sort of thing. Anything that has a torque setting to ensure quality and reliability and reduce warranty claim. We have that facility which we can record each guy that's actually fitted the component down the line and that it's actually been torqued up to the correct levels.
Incredible stuff. Look, we haven't had a winner yet for the sunglasses, so I'm going to recap the questions because I can see we've had some new people arrive. The largest model in the Case G series wheel loader lineup is the 1121G. I think I've got that right. According to the Case Construction Equipment website, what is the engine power in kilowatts of that machine? The answer is already in the chat if you care to go and have a look. Let's have a look. Where are we now? Yeah, maximize reliability. That was a key theme as part of the presentation today, and I think that alludes back to what we were saying about electronic screwdrivers. And I must get me one of those. That's another theme that I certainly stood out for me. Peter, you?
Yeah, look, I think what's really interesting about all of this, Mark, is we always talk about maintenance and things like that. I want to start this with a very important thing that I noticed. So you get a lot of percentages in a lot of these sort of presentations from manufacturers where we say it's 7% more this, it's 5% more that, it's 11% more that. Now, what I loved about this press conference is actually there was a percentage figure, 20% improvement in maintenance, right? But that came with a big figure, and that was extended service levels and reduced maintenance costs that gives you the value of €9,000 per year. That is saving you €9,000 per year. So one for me is, thank goodness. So talk about percentages, but I want to know what that percentage is in my pocket, Mark. And that was what was really, really important. Now, some of these extended levels are quite dramatic. And I want to just bring in one of the team to talk about those levels, because, we're used to hearing about 250 or 500 hours. But I don't know whether it's Crispin or Hayden to answer this one. But what were the extended service levels, guys? And it's quite dramatic, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've basically extended the standard service intervals from 500 hours or multiples of, depending on which component it is on the machine, up to 1,000 hours. So that means double it. Yeah, double it, basically. Yeah, we have some various components on the machine have an extended life in comparison to that as well. But the majority of the fuel filters, air filters, oil, that sort of thing, 1,000 hours. Now, the industry might open its eyes to that and think, crikey, that's a fair claim, that's a fair jump, 50, 100% jump. But bear in mind that we are our own engine manufacturer. FPT is an in-house CNH company. We work very closely with them. If you look at your average car now, the extension of service intervals has happened across the industry. Technology in fluids, technologies in filters has enabled that. So we feel confident and we're proud to announce that fact, 'cause it's a massive, massive factor. Downtime, productivity, reduced total cost of ownership, all bundled into one, and it's a real plus for the Case brand.
And it's €9,000 up to it. That's not a small bit of change, is it? And so that's all part of, though, this whole new approach that's technology driven. We've seen the telematics, the site reports, everything else, but that all feeds into what you're calling case care. But also integrates fluid analysis, because we know with the sort of stage 5 engines and things like that, and with fluids and everything, we know that those tiny contaminants that you get within a machine can throw everything else out, can't they? And that's where case care comes in with the fluid analysis piece on that. Tell me about the importance of that and how that works, really.
Yeah,
well, it's all let go, Crispin, go. Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, no, I just about to say. So the case care is, it's a new maintenance program that we're going to be actually announcing in full in a couple of weeks. But in a nutshell, it's effectively a original equipment manufacturer backed service program that will allow you to have all your machines serviced by our dealers, utilizing the case parts, all the lubricants, etc., and labor, and obviously the experience of the case dealer network in supporting your machines. But that will all help in terms of ensuring your machine's in tip-top condition, that it's working as it should be, so it's being as productive as it should be. It'll be more reliable as a result, and ultimately for the customer, it's going to be more profitable. So and within that, as you mentioned, Peter, there's we can offer the ability to do fluid analysis just to check the machine's performing as it should be, and really what it's all about is trying to make sure that your machine has improved uptime, is more reliable for you, is more profitable, and ultimately more productive.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think what the one thing that links to that, though, is, and I love that, I'm going to keep using this word, aggressive mode, right? So when I'm in aggressive mode, Hayden, and when I'm pumping out all of this hard work, the machines are going to get hot, aren't they? And what I liked about we went into the design of the machine is the mysterious cube layout of the cooling system, and how that has been developed to keep those aggressive drivers cool, and more importantly the engines and cool. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's cool.
Yeah. Well, again, as technology and emissions controls have come into play, more and more features, more and more cooling elements have had to be added to a cooling pack, like fuel coolers, axle coolers, all this sort of thing, which, as machines have got bigger, more productive and that sort of thing, are necessary. Now, if you take those and put them into sort of a traditional sandwich system, layered over one another, whatever impacts on the first layer, dust-wise and debris-wise, is then sucked through the whole core and just makes it less efficient. So we developed the cooling cube. We're very proud of the fact it's a cube, as it says, but we put one element on each side of that cube, and then we get maximum airflow through that single element, whether it be the hydraulic, whether it be the axle cooler, intercooler, maximum volumes of air, so we can keep that vital component running efficiently. But also, if we are in very dusty environments, we have different cores of the radiator to get through bigger debris, in waste applications. And then we've got the hydraulic fan with preset levels, but they're interchangeable, so we can set the reverse timings to suit the application, and makes it very, very efficient, and is well respected. We have a lot of success, particularly in the waste industry, in those harsh environments that suffer from overheating, and we can certainly outperform our competitors in that environment.
So really, fundamentally, Hayden, you've got an ice cube, and that's not an singer, Mark, or whatever. But you've got an or 90s, I don't know, my decades, whatever. But that's what that I really did think that was an interesting element, because we do see a lot of these wheel loaders going into harsh environments across the world, but also I've gone to a lot of waste facilities where I've seen case machines working, and that the particulates and everything that's around those machines really is a problem if you don't have the right kind of cooling systems, and you get those structures like you've just said, Hayden, full up and gunked up. That really does impact the overall performance and engine reliability, Mark. But yes, so there we go.
We are going to get on to things like profitability and owning and operating costs in a second. But here's an example of just how clever our audience is. Okay? So we asked a question to win a pair of sunglasses, and we had one person come up with the right answer, but he's already won a prize. But he has a solution. Peter Ferguson has said, my wife says 259 kilowatts. So, Mrs. Ferguson, if you're watching, you've got yourself a pair of sunglasses. And if I hear that Peter's been wearing them, there will be hell to pay. I'm just saying, Mrs. Ferguson, well done. Congratulations.
Can I just say, Mark, as well, that our good friend Malcolm really, really did have a go at getting it wrong very well.
Yeah, only wrong answers need apply. Absolutely.
But I think he came in just after Peter Ferguson had actually won, so I'm going to let him off there because he knows where I live, basically.
Well, apparently Louisa Ferguson is very happy, so congratulations, Louisa. We're going to put another one into the kitty, because we are going to get into some more questions in a second. Next one up is a case-branded thermal mug. Going back to what we said before, it is one prize per person. And the question this time around is, the smallest model in the Case G series wheel loader range is the 521G. According to the Case Construction Equipment website, what is the machine's maximum travel speed in kilometers an hour? We'll announce the winner shortly. But while we're getting onto that, owning and operating costs, we've already alluded to this to a degree, but there was a really big focus on reducing owning and operating costs and reducing the bottom line. How have that's been a real focus for Case? What have you done to actually address that, guys?
Chris Finch, will let you have that one or not?
Yeah, no, I can certainly take that. Not a problem. So, I mean, there are, in fact, a number of features that we've done, which obviously, from the benefit point of view, helps with the profitability. The first one we've already mentioned to, and I think it's sort of quite fitting, because really the tire pressure monitoring system is something that does benefit not only profitability, but reliability and productivity as well. So it does really fit in all three areas of what we have delivered this new machine around. Specifically related to profitability, the tire pressure monitoring system will obviously reduce fuel consumption, and that in turn will reduce maintenance costs and total cost of ownership. We've also got the integrated payload scale. So actually, for those people purchasing a new G series, they won't have to have an added third-party aftermarket solution, because effectively it will come or can come with the machine. There's also the Site Watch that now comes as standard with G series. That will enable you to monitor your machine, not only in terms of its performance, but its health as well. And just by doing those things, you're going to have a lot more profitable machine. There's the extended service intervals that we've already mentioned, and Peter, you were saying about the 9,000 euros, but that's per machine. I mean, if you look at it in relation to some of these big sites that have got 5, 10, maybe more machines, that's a huge saving that's going to be resulting. And so really, when you talk about profitability, it really fits the mold. And then the last one is really the smart work mode. And all that does is really, it's an internal software thing that improves the communication between the engine and the transmission, and that will actually improve fuel efficiency by up to 10%. And when you consider what your fuel bill is, maybe per day, per week, per month, or even per year, those savings add up, and then multiply that across multiple machines, the savings are going to be huge.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, for me, one of the other things that we haven't talked about just yet, folks, is what I really like about, you did touch on it slightly, Hayden. What I really like about this machine is the payload system, the payload weighing system, but the fact that comes with another 2 systems, including a tip-up system, which tops up the top of the HGV to make sure it's not overloaded or underloaded. And the system that actually allows you to raise it safely as well, Hayden, which, those 3 things combined actually help loading quite much more efficiently, don't they? So talk to me about that. That's really important.
So what we're talking really is sort of cycle times, improvement in cycle times, which therefore gives you better productivity. So the payload system that we have has the usual function. You put your tail load in for what you're wanting to load the truck, and you come to your final bucket. It will calculate when you lift past the point that you have maybe too much material in that bucket to reach the tare weight, and it will give you a tip-off feature whereby you'll just carry on tipping the machine. You'll see the needle come down on the screen until you get to the critical point and you fill to the maximum capacity of that truck. So that's it's swift and it's easy. I've jumped in lots of machines over the time and seen these wayloaders, and you need quite a bit of time just to get your head around them. Also, some of the features in our wayloader mean that we can make it more, again, user-friendly, in that traditionally wayloaders, you use them and you have to have certain parameters. You have to be on fairly level ground. You have to have a fairly stable load and that sort of thing. Otherwise, the machine will not calculate for you. Well, to get maximum accuracy with our machine, yes, you do have to do that, but you are able to disable some of those features. So if you are going up a slight incline, you can actually switch off the incline preset in the actual screen. It will give you a slightly less accurate feed, but still an indication. So it makes it more versatile around the work site. So you're not always in a flat level area where you're loading. Sometimes those can change, and you've got parameters to change depending on your working environment.
And what is that function? I can't remember the name of it now, Hayden, that helps you lift it up and lift it up to then do the tip-off function.
Like a parallel lift.
That's the one, Mark. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I knew you were going for a reason, Mark.
I've got to do something, right?
The 2 separate features on the machine. We have the parallel lift and then the tip-off, which is integrated into the payloader. Yeah. So the tip-off then helps us then just get accurately the amount of material on the truck or into the hopper or whatever. Parallel lift is another feature which we've added onto the machine. So basically, whatever level you set the bucket at the start of the lift, it retains that lift angle throughout the arc, which again helps with loading cycles. So particularly if we've got large capacities of buckets where we've got material mounted up in the bucket, when we get to the top of the loader arc with the traditional loader, you can start to lose a bit of material over the back of the bucket coming back down the loader arms. This feature, when it's activated now, will maintain the bucket in the original angle, just to maintain that load throughout the loader arc so we don't have the spillage that we used to. It also makes the machine very, very versatile, particularly with the smaller ones that we sell there with quick hitches, and people put pallet forks on and that sort of thing. Again, pallet work, parallel lift is an absolute godsend, particularly for safety when you're loading onto and off trucks and that sort of thing.
And hey, the one thing I do like, sorry, Mark, I've just got one last tiny little thing that I want to talk about. It is the job ticket. Because within the reporting site mechanism, you've done all of this payload, you've filled up all of these trucks during a day in a cycle, and you might have had, say, a customer come in and there's 10 trucks that they want loading, and you program that in for that customer, and the system creates its own job ticket, doesn't it? And tells you exactly how much load has gone in. That's clever, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a work in progress as you're loading through the trucks. You're able to put information into the way loader. You're able to detail the customer's name, detail the truck registration that you're actually loading. So there's some unity between those two, and you can trace what's gone on what and that sort of thing. And then you can load the trucks depending on their capacity and get a full tonnage per day for the end of the day that goes through, and then can be uploaded instantly by the site office or wherever that may be, put down into a spreadsheet, into an Excel file, so you've got accurate records on a daily basis. And you can put limitless amount of companies in there. You can also put limitless amounts of material as well, depending on the densities and that sort of thing that you're dealing with.
Great stuff.
I'm going to make a point that normally Peter would make, and it is about driver aids. One of the things, I mean, Peter talked about cab clutter. We talk about operator aids and driver aids and that kind of thing. That really was a theme of today's launch, and it did come across that these are aids. They're not hindrances. They're not additional things that operators have to worry about. These are just aids to help them be more productive, to be safer. That's the way the industry is going, isn't it?
Exactly. You know, safety is paramount. It's the first thing on my list every time I go in and onto a site. And you know, when you look at our loader, as an operator, when you sit in the seat, that machine is your responsibility. So as you sit there, you want to have faith and comfort and knowledge that you can see around the machine. If you look at our machine, if you look at the visibility out the front and out the back, you can see all 4 wheel areas. Due to our technology and under bonnet after treatment systems, the machine has not had to change in its involvement through the tiers. So we've kept a low level bonnet throughout the whole process. Again, visibility, because the operator, you can put as many gadgets as you like in the cab, but the first things he will use is his eyes and bend his neck to have a look around the machine and make sure he's safe before proceeding. And we've maintained that. And, you know, I do really feel that we've got one of the best on the market, if not the best on the market for operator visibility 360 around the machine.
Hey, Mark, and one of those great operators, he's no mug. He's Kenneth Hatcher, and he's just won himself a mug.
He has. I say he has. According to my figures, the speed is 35.9. But hey, who am I to quibble?
He's been on the site. Oh, we'll give it to him. Come on, he's already had his Tesco delivery today, so he probably needs a cup of coffee after taking all that food in on his first load.
You see, this highlights a point, and I do think that this is where we've got an issue with Case. I think they've actually stolen that aggressive mode thing, because there are 3 members of the construction collective. There's Peter, who is smooth. There's Nick Drew, who is moderate, which kind of leaves me as aggressive. But on this instance, I'm going to take a backseat, and in this case, Ken, you've won. Now I've got I don't know if you can see it. I've actually got a flashing light on my system, which proves that my battery is about to die in my camera. I have a spare, don't worry. We are going to get close to the show, to the end of the show in a second anyway. So I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to pop out, change the battery, and come back in. So my question is, when are we going to see these machines? How soon can we expect to see them on UK and European sites? And at that point, I'm going to leave very, very quickly.
So, guys, who's going to answer that?
I'll answer that one, Peter. What we're very fortunate with the launch is that actually these machines are pretty much going to go into production immediately. So in the next sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks, they should be hitting the UK shores. But it is obviously slightly dependent on models, obviously dealer stock as well, what they have in. But effectively, the launch was obviously today, but the availability is going to be almost immediately on certain models.
And that means that
all the benefits.
Go on, Crispin.
No, just saying all the benefits that we've been talking about today people can experience sort of firsthand. In addition, for those people who are wanting to try one of the machines, we've got demonstration models coming through, and you just have to contact your local dealers, and they'll be able to arrange a demonstration for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know we're keen to get the Mr. Demonstrator operator himself, our third wheel, as it were. No, we're not doing trikes here; we're doing wheel loaders. But Nick's very keen to get on there, and I'm very keen to see him behind the wheel doing the loading and making sure he gets the payload right. It's the most important part.
Right, guys, as we're getting very close to the hour mark, doesn't time fly when you're having fun? We've got one final prize to give away, and this is the big one. This is one everyone's been waiting for, and it is a case-branded Bluetooth speaker. And if I look very carefully, I've actually got a photograph of it. I've actually got one of these, not a case one, funny enough. I've actually got one of these on my desk, and that's why you find me nodding my head if ever I'm on live and not paying attention. Given that we've been speaking about technology all night, I thought it would be best to end on a technology-related question. Case telematics system has been mentioned a lot tonight. It was in the video. Peter's alluded to it. I think both Hayden and Crispin have both mentioned it. But what is that telematics system called? And you've probably got 5, maybe 6 minutes before the end of the show to get your answers in. Now, I did have a question on the very tip of my tongue here, and it's gone completely out of my head. Peter, you got anything?
Basically, Mark, what I think is really important here is for people to understand that this is a journey I'm seeing from Case, which is very, very operator focused. I'm interested to see from Crispin a little bit of insight as to when the next product launch is around the corner. And so I'd like to get a little hint about what we might see in the not too distant future if Crispin's are willing to give us a little bit of an insight, Mark, as to what could be coming down the Case line, as it were.
Yeah, Peter. Well, I can't say too much, but I think just watch your space. There will be more product launches this year, so hopefully we'll be able to come back to your screens in sometime this year and talk about new products coming through the Case range.
Good stuff.
Is that enough?
Give it away, Mark. I knew you wouldn't give it away.
No, absolutely. I didn't think you would. But one of the reasons I was so keen to take part in the show today and the launch today is the fact that the Case has really made its mark in the past few years. When you think back to the last Baumer with the Project Tetra, and then the electric backhoe loader over at Conexpo before the world went completely mad. Case, I wouldn't say Case is a sleeping giant. It certainly isn't. It's way, way bigger than that. But just the last few years, Case really does seem to have had something of a renaissance in terms of, we've said technology, but also, the way it's embracing alternative fuels. I take it that's a conscious decision, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a conscious decision. The market is going that way anyway, as we've seen, from Project Zeus and Project Tetra. One of the things that probably people don't realize is that Case Construction is actually part of a company called CNH Industrial. And CNH Industrial is actually part of the Fiat Chrysler, which is now Stellantis Group, where they got Ferrari, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and then within the CNH Industrial Group, we have New Holland, we have Case Construction, and we also have Iveco Trucks. And the one big jewel to our crown is what we call FPT, and FPT is actually our engine manufacturer. But those engines go into, for example, the Iveco Trucks, and one of the real benefits to the organization is that all the technology for the various stages of engine emissions and things like that have already been done by the truck. So we've gone through the pain, we've experienced all the pitfalls, and we've done all the testing and development. So when it comes into the new stage emissions, like stage 5 comes into construction machinery, we already know what to do. And in the same sentence, with all the sort of new technologies, for example, gas, for example, we've done that in our trucks already, for example. So, we're in a really enviable position where we're able to take technologies that have already been utilized in other products within the company and bring them across. And we've had all the pain, and effectively we're ready to go. Whereas you look at, some of our competitors where they're starting from scratch, and, they have to go through the pain, when we've done it sort of 2-3 years ago. So, and just to finish on that, with FPT, they've, they are huge engine manufacturers. They're pumping out thousands and thousands of engines a day, not only for ourselves but for competitors, for the other brands in our family. And the technology that they've developed, whether it be electric or whether it be gas or things, we have the ability to bring it into our own products. So, the future, I think, is going to be bright. But, one of the reasons for that is because we have FPT in our family.
Given who your sister companies are within the wider group, does that mean you've got a really interesting company car? Ferrari or Alfa Romeo? Have you called one of those off?
Well, I would love to have a Ferrari, but no, unfortunately, I do have an Alfa though, so I can't complain.
Superb. Now, before we came on air, Crispin, you and I were talking about some of the projects that are going on. And I know this is one that Peter gets awfully animated about. The timing of the introduction of these wheel loaders to coincide with the heavy lifting on HS2, it's pretty much perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The timing couldn't be better, so to speak. But this G series and wheeled loaders in the Case family is not something that is new. I mean, we've actually been manufacturing, believe it or not, wheeled loaders since 1958. So it's nearly 65 years old that we've been doing this. But I think all the changes that we've made with the launch of this machine, there's huge benefits that could be provided to HS2 with the benefits that come with it. And I think particularly with regards to the cost savings that come with it, the productivity improvements, and also actually the reduction in fuel, which has a direct link there to the reduction in carbon. And I know HS2, for example, because it's a government-backed scheme, is something where they are really heavily focused on carbon, and something like a G series is really going to help reduce their carbon impact.
We've just had a very interesting suggestion, and given the family connection within the wider group. There you go. How about that as an idea?
Well, you never know. You never know.
I know the guy that would operate it. I can certainly tell you that much. Now, going back to our Bluetooth speaker, we've had several wrong answers, we've had several right answers, but I'm delighted to say that the winner on this occasion is Malcolm Dyke. He wasn't the first, but he was the first that hasn't won a prize previously. So, Malcolm, prepare your ears. There is going to be a Bluetooth speaker heading to you in the not too distant future. I think that probably just about wraps us up. The one thing that I did think that we need to do on these shows, it is a global show, and it's a global audience, as we've seen from we've got people watching in from all over the place. But here in the UK, Case has got a remarkably strong dealer network, haven't they? I take it they are all ready to take on board the G series.
Yeah, absolutely. They've all got orders in and going down the factory, so they should be all arriving pretty soon. So if anyone is interested, either to have a demonstration or to inquire about one of the machines, then our dealer network is there to take those inquiries. Equally, you can contact us through the website, and if you want to know who your local dealer is, if you go onto the Case Construction website, go to the top right-hand corner, there is a dealer locator, and if you type in your postcode, it will say who your local dealer is.
Brilliant.
Fantastic system. Superb. Just one other thing that I needed to add. The half an hour video recording of today's presentation, the actual launch presentation, beamed direct from Italy. We will put a link in that to the show notes. So once this show has ended, you'll be able to access that as well. So if you're still interested in some of the finer details of those machines, you can go and have a watch of that either today or at some point in the very near future. We've had another comment in it. Is it worth throwing up? There we are. We've had somebody that's always operated Volvo shovels wants to have a go on a G series. Well, you've come to the right place, Malcolm. We've got two guys here that can probably help you make that happen.
Not a problem.
Superb stuff. Okay, guys, look, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I really do appreciate you giving up your evening, particularly after the fact that you've had such a busy day with the actual launch of the G series. But Peter and I don't have homes to go to, so we're going to let you go, and we'll round the show out without you. But just want to say a massive thank you, and the very best of luck with the new G series as well.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, thanks ever so much as well. What I've really enjoyed tonight is actually having that impact from an operator like yourself as well, because that is really important. We've got a lot of operators on there, and you know, you're there training people and actually feeding back yourself to see some of these things that have been put into the wheel loader. So it's great to be able to have you on as well. Obviously, Crispin, it's your job to market these things, but having an operator on is what I really like. So that's great. Thanks very much.
And Malcolm Dyke says, great show, guys. And I think he's talking about you two rather than us two. So,
no, thank you very much for having us. It's been a great show. Thank you.
Superb. All the very best, guys. And I'll speak to you all soon.
All right.
Take care. Goodbye.
Right, that just about wraps things up for tonight's show, but there's more to come. I'll be back tomorrow on the Breakfast show at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, because I never tire of this stuff. And on Saturday morning, we'll be unveiling a new weekly roundup show. And I think it's safe to say that Case will have a significant presence in that one too. And Peter, you and I are due back on, I think it's the 29th of this month, together with our third musketeer, Mr. Drew, for the latest Construction Collective adventure.
Yes, indeed, Mark. And that's going to be a good one, because, you know, we're now being able to get out there a bit more often and see what's happening in the real world, not the locked down world. So we'll happily still keep you glued to your seat, but we'll be reporting from various different places across the country as we unlock but get down with the machinery and technology where it belongs, where we're on site. So that's great to see we're able to do that. Got some exciting stuff to come from that one as well. So that's brilliant.
Fantastic stuff. Okay, well, until then, people, we really hope you've enjoyed the show. If you're lucky enough to win a prize, then please be sure to let me know your postal address, even if you've won one before, because frankly, I'm terrible at filing these things. I will see you again tomorrow morning, and I'll play you out, as I promised our friend from Sweden. I'll play you out with one final look at those G-Series machines in all their glory. Here we go.